We'll now focus our attention onto golf. FedEx Cup tournament this week. BMW Championship held at Conway Farms. At the moment, Jordan Spieth performing very well. Dustin Johnson performing very well. Justin Thomas performing very well. The reigning US PGA champion there. So the big boys have certainly come to the party so far. And they will be looking to, cement their position at the top, but there'll also be the usual pretenders in behind who can be dangerous, and we'll be looking at those pretenders in terms of achieving some value this week in our selections. Looking at the market, the usual suspects head it off. Dustin Johnson 8-1, Jordan Spieth as short as 6-1. It is only 70 players in this field, and there's no cut, so I think the odds may have been shaved slightly to account for this. The bookies are taking notice of that. But as usual, we're going to look away from the extreme top end of the market. We're not going to go for any of the short price favourites. They could win. Spieth has been in amazing form. Johnson in amazing form. I think Matsuyama's about 16-1. Relative to those numbers at the head of the market, Spieth at 6 and Johnson at 8-1. I think it's a reasonable figure. I think Rose is in there about sort of 28, 30-1, around that sort of mark. Not a bad figure. But we're going to come in. Our first selection will be for Brooks Koepka, the US Open champion. We've gone with him a few times now, and I just rate him as a top player. I think it's possible that a top player may win this event because the cream is rising to the top now in the FedEx Cup. Coming towards the end of the season, Tour Championship coming up, people are taking it very seriously. And I think Koepka at 28-1 is the price I've found. I think it's slightly more elsewhere. I'm looking at Betfair. 6th place is a fifth of the odds, so I'll be going Koepka 28-1 to start things off. Looking down the field, Sergio Garcia is 45-1. I think that's a good number on the Masters champion. Don't know if he's been as consistent as he might have been since the Masters, but just very talented. And looking at the other odds in the market, 45-1, I think it's reasonable. We've got Leishman at 45-1 as well. We're going to take him. I'm not going to go into it. I will mention something about him. Now, the reason I won't go into it is because we select him every week. But we looked past him in the last tournament. And, it was just a bit of a collapse at the end, which meant he didn't win the tournament. He was well in it. And I was sweating because I said specifically it could be a mistake to leave out Leishman. In the end, it didn't prove too costly. He didn't win the tournament, but he was there or thereabouts, so we're going to restore our confidence in Marc Leishman. Someone we select virtually every week. That's the only week we haven't, so we're back with him. I think Berger's about 60-1. Hoffman is 66-1. Hoffman been in tremendous form, Charley Hoffman. He's been really good, consistent, good tee to green, nice and tidy, not a huge hitter, but you know what you're getting. He's been in tremendous form. I think he's tailed off of late last couple of weeks, but I'm going to stay with him. I mean, that general form line is very good, so we're going to back him to get back to winning ways, hopefully, with better performances this week. We've got Kevin Kisner. We're going to take him at 100-1. Went close a few weeks ago. Similar to Hoffman, keeps it in play, very reliable, very experienced. 100-1's a big figure, I think, on him. I think it's a very big figure. Could have seen him at a loss less, maybe 66 or something like that, in amongst some of the other numbers, with the Bergers, the Hoffmans. Those are the prices they're at this week, so don't see why Kisner's so much. So we're going to take the value 100-1 each way. We're going to take Duffner, who's out at 100-1. Someone we support on the channel a lot. Former US PGA champion. We won't go into it too much. We select him too often to keep banging on about it. He's a tidy player. He's a good player. We'll go with Duffner. We're going to take Francesco Molinari, 100-1. It's been around. There's another one of these consistent players, not a huge hitter. Good tee to green. There's very fast greens at this Conway Farms course, so if he can get the rock rolling nicely, he's usually putts reasonably well on fast greens. He could be dangerous. He'll definitely keep it in play because he always does. 100-1, I think it's reasonable. Tony Finau is there at 110-1. I've gone with him a few times and not got anything from him. He's a very big hitter. He's very talented. I think he needs to probably work on his mentality a little bit. Performing in, under high pressure, but he's at 110-1, and I think it's a very big number. So for that reason, just in terms of value, I'll take him. Other numbers I've seen in the market, which maybe caught the eye, Kevin Tway is out at 300-1. We've supported him a lot on this channel and not got much from him, and that's the reason I'm going to look past it. But I think it's a very big number value-wise. Billy Horschel's out at 250 to 1. Admittedly, not been in the best form of late, but he can find form. He's a very talented player. He's won this year. He's capable of a lot. Can he step up in a tournament like this? I'm not so sure he will, and that's the reason I'll look past it. But in terms of value, if you're looking strictly for value, I think 250 to 1 is very reasonable. So, you know, the challenge this week should be pretty straightforward. I should be able to get out of the course. I don't see, looking in the forecast, there may be rain. There's no wind at this particular course. Greens are fast. Yeah, I think the big boys will be going after it this week. But we've gone for the value plays as we always do. If you have any opinions on who you think could come good, then, you know, throw the ideas in the ring. Some of the others I've spotted, Reed is at 28 to 1. Looked a little bit short, I thought, so I looked past it. Mickelson is there at 66 to 1, spotted that as well. We don't have to talk about Phil. We know how good he is and how experienced he is. He's there. That is something you might want to look at. Gary Woodland, 80 to 1 is one I looked past. But let's go through who we have gone for. We've gone for Brooks Koepka, 28 to 1. Sergio Garcia, 45 to 1. Daniel Berger, 60 to 1. Marc Leishman, 45 to 1. Charley Hoffman, 60 to 1, I think it is, or 66 to 1, that sort of region. Kisner, 100 to 1. Duffner, 100 to 1. Molinari, 100 to 1. And Tony Finau, 110 to 1. Complete our selections. We'll be going each way. 6 places, a fifth of the odds. Please put in any ideas that you have. Like and subscribe. Enjoy the tournament. See you next time.